Was it Catherine? That's right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Annual General Meeting for Access Sydney Community Transport. Well, this is a new one for all of us, having to do an AGM over Zoom. So I'm hoping everything will go as planned. And please excuse me from reading from my script. I'd like to start the meeting by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that we are meeting on today, and that we live and work on, and acknowledge pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. So just a little bit of housekeeping. All participants except for the speakers will be on mute. People will be able to ask questions at the end of at the close in general business. Oh no, sorry, they'll be able to ask questions through the chat function. Any governance questions we can answer after the meeting, but any operational questions will be sent to the relevant manager in Access Sydney to get back to the person who's asked the question. Okay, where am I up to? Okay, so throughout the meeting, you'll see the person with the yellow box around their face is the only person that everyone or anyone can hear. So I'd like to read the apologies for the meeting. We have a number of people on Zoom, but I'll just read out the apologies. We have apologies from Kevin Rees, Minna Pekar, Lorna Clifford, Gary Sutton, Irene Panangadis, Monica Loveridge, Adeline Fraser, Arnold Jones, Marie Winfield, Deborah White, Ruth O'Neill, Larissa von Drasic, Hilda Miga, sorry if my apologies for not being able to pronounce the name, Patricia Mitchell, Rosemary Boyd, Carolyn Murphy, and Brenda Robertson. I'd like to mention the minutes of the 2019 Annual General Meeting. Would someone who was at that meeting please move that those minutes be accepted as a true record of the meeting? Raise your hand if you were at the meeting. Who's that gentleman there? I'm sorry, I don't. We'll check. Yes, I see your hand. Thank you. We'll check your name from the list. Have we got a seconder? Nelson. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. There's no business arising out of reading the minutes, so thank you for that. So I'll now read the chairperson's report. Yes. Oh dear.
Chris, the microphone's going a little in and out.
Okay. We'll come a bit closer. We'll see how that's going. So I'm pleased to present the Access Sydney Community Transport Limited Annual Report for 2020. The governance responsibility of a board is to set the strategic direction, ensure compliance with Access Sydney Community Transport Constitution, contracts, legislation and standards, and to ensure that the organisation is financially stable. Following the resignation of long-serving CEO Jane Rogers in 2019, Access Sydney was fortunate enough to recruit Carla Northam, who came to us with strong skills and experience in leadership roles in the community. Carla started in January 2020 and had to hit the ground running when COVID hit Australia. Very quickly, community transport service providers had to completely change their service model to ensure customer and staff safety while continuing to provide essential services. A COVID-19 safety plan covering all our service types, customers and team members was developed, registered with the government and implemented. The plan is based on minimising the risk of infection to customers and team members. It includes suspending non-essential services while maintaining the essential ones. Strategic planning is crucial for community transport providers to ensure an efficient business model and a sustainable future. Our contract with the Commonwealth Government under the Commonwealth Home Support Program, which funds the majority of our services, expires in June 2022. Government plans to provide community transport after that date are not yet known. Over the next year, the CEO will work with Commonwealth and community partners to influence the future design of community transport that meets community needs. Our lease agreement with Strathfield Council for the premises at the Dutton Centre expired in June this year, and the ultimate office lease expires at the end of December this year. This provides us with an opportunity to consolidate our offices and have one base, gaining efficiencies in team cohesion, systems and reducing costs. When it's safe to do so, staff from both offices will work together at the new premises in Homebush West. The focus on COVID-19 prevented us from working on new initiatives in 2020. However, as COVID restrictions are lifted, work will refocus on new strategies to grow the business and establish social enterprise opportunities. In the 2020 financial year, we appointed a new board of director, Robert Macy. His knowledge and experience in state health and transport have been an asset to the organisation, especially during COVID-19. I wish to thank all of the board members. Nelson Contador, who has taken on the role of treasurer the last couple of years, Lisa Parksy, and Celeste Shaw, who gave their time voluntarily to provide governance to the operations of Access Sydney Community Transport. My thanks to the staff who have worked so hard to keep customers and each other safe. They have endured many changes this year and again proven how resilient they are. Many thanks also to the volunteers who give their time to support Access Sydney and our customers. I will now call upon Carla to give her report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to their elders past and present. Thank you all for joining us today. This is new territory and we'll get better at it, I guess, as we go along. As our annual report has mostly covered the past year's activities, today I would like to very briefly highlight some of the recent and current areas of focus for the organisation. Access Sydney and the community transport sector has never been under so much scrutiny, and to be able to meet the ongoing expectations of our customers and the community, Access Sydney has continued to review, adapt and evolve its services over the last 12 months. Like all other organisations, the unexpected event of COVID-19 has placed immense pressure on normal business practices. This has also put significant limitations on the services Access Sydney was able to provide. But through organisational agility and commitment of dedicated staff, our volunteers, Access Sydney was still able to provide quality essential services to those in the communities of need. By necessity, governance and risk management, in particular health, safety and well-being, needed to be a major focus during this period, with processes reviewed so risks could be proactively managed in an environment of continuous change. Strategic planning is also currently being undertaken by the board and management to ensure that the organisation has clarity, focus and direction, and most importantly, has the ability to thrive consistently and deal with potential new opportunities and, of course, unforeseen adversities. Also, a major review of the organisation's risk management plan and all policies and procedures were and continue to be undertaken. These large body of works are important in order to make certain that all compliance requirements are always in place and up to date, so Access Sydney can continue to deliver a high level quality service and that service is maintained. I'm certain that the majority of you would agree that this has been a year like no other. But I'm very proud to say that at Access Sydney has proven to be extremely resilient during this period. The organisation has responded effectively in meeting all challenges while consistently maintaining essential services to our customers in very difficult circumstances. Whilst my verbal report may be brief, I hope that I have been able to provide you all with a small snapshot of some of the happenings over this unbelievable and challenging period. At this point, I wish to say that I feel very honoured being the CEO of this truly amazing organisation. I'm very grateful and to be supported and surrounded by an amazing, dedicated group of people that I'm working with and the people that also support us too. So opportunity I'm taking at this moment is to say a big thank you to each and every one of you for all that you do for this organisation and our communities in which we work in. It is sincerely appreciated. I personally am a firm believer in the fact, and it is my mantra at the moment, that with every challenge, there is an opportunity. At Access Sydney, we are looking forward to continuing to enhance our provision of service delivery. And in the same breath, we will continue to explore and consider exciting, new, and various innovative opportunities for the organisation in order to meet the required needs of our customers and our communities in which we work in. Thank you all for your time today. Please stay safe. Thanks.
Thank you, Carla. We'll move all of the reports together. So I'll now call upon Nelson Contador for the Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Chris. Do you want to put it on silent? Okay. Nope. It's sorry, a little bit of technical.
Sorry, technical glitch. 1 second. Try now.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Can I start first by acknowledging the traditional owners, past, present, and emerging, and also note that the land where we meet today always was and always will be Aboriginal land. So it's yet another year, and I seem to, when I write my reports, I keep stating that it's been a lot happening, and yet it is this year. I think has really taken the cake with everything that sort of has happened. We've said goodbye to a long-standing CEO, welcomed a new one. We had to move offices, and not to mention COVID, which has obviously impacted us all in very interesting ways, including having a virtual AGM, which is, I guess, the reality of where we stand now. From a financial perspective, though, we probably have been in a better position than a lot of businesses, being that we provide an essential services with the community transport that we provide, and the fact that our funding is primarily sourced, or our income is primarily sourced from government funding. So that and the added support JobKeeper has also meant that that's enabled us to maintain a level of stability that we would otherwise not have. So that certainly was welcome when that was announced. Having said that, though, there is actually still the reforms continue, and our the future landscape certainly remains the same challenge that I've mentioned probably for the last 2 AGMs, with significant changes with the way that community transport will be funded, and the way we source our income. Having said that, though, we don't anticipate this significant change before June 2022. So we continue and the staff continue the hard work to ensure that we're in a good position when that time comes. So just to sort of summarize, we ended the financial year in a net surplus of 512,422, and which has meant that our income increased by 6.3%, which isn't unusual because of the continued commitment by government to increase the funding to provide expanded services. The other thing worth noting is that our expenditure did increase by 1.7% from previous years. And also worth noting is that although stable, the majority of expenditure accounting for 78% was our salaries and on-cost. There's significant risk remains, though, from our income side of things, which is heavily reliant on the government funding. So there are a few things. So overall, though, we're in a good position with our total equity of 3.2 million at the 30th of June 2020. The only other thing I'd like to mention, which I included in my report, is the significant changes with the funding arrangements, with the way that we deal with our assets, that being the buses and cars that we provide our services with. Where we, up until the end of last financial year, we were needing to make provisions to replace the vehicles as assets. The funding agreement has now changed from 1 July 2020, requiring us to now lease those vehicles as we replace them. That's going to mean a significant sort of change to I guess our business model. But having said that, though, I actually think in the context of the changing environment that we find ourselves in, and knowing that we have a solid provision for vehicle replacements, which needs to be redirected back to the service provision, I think it provides us with an opportunity to really rethink in terms of how we're delivering services to and see look towards the future as to what things could look like. That pretty much covers all I have to say. I just want to conclude with this year will be has been my last year as treasurer, so I will step down in that role, and leaving the role open for others to come in and make their input. But I will if the board will have me and the membership will have me, I will sort of remain on the board happily as a director. So on that note, I'd like to big thanks to Carla and the team for the great work that they have done. It's been an incredibly challenging sort of environment, and I think that the team has really done well to keep services going, and also actually, looking at the future ahead. So on that note, I'd like to invite, as previous years, our auditors representative, John Meager. Now, John, are you there? Can we invite you to come forward and say a few words?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John from
This will be tricky because all right, over to you, John.
Thank you, Nelson. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John. I'm from Moore Stephens, the auditors. I think this is our 4th year as being auditors for Access Sydney. Again, this year, thankfully, it's been a good year. We've issued an unqualified audit opinion again. Thanks to Carla, Nelson, and Jing for their support during the course of the audit. Because every year it's been one of our nicest clients that we always work on, and there's never been any issues that we've had to bring to the attention of the directors or you as the members. But we do a little short presentation where we will confirm that to you as members, say it's an issue in an unqualified audit opinion. There's been no disagreements with management throughout the course of the audit. We haven't become aware of any irregularities or frauds during the year or illegal acts. We've been presented with all the necessary books and records and explanations that we've asked for during the course of the audit. And most importantly, there's been no issue in relation to going concern, i.e. the company is in a position to pay its debts, its financial obligations as and when they fall due for a period of 12 months from the date of signing of financial statements. I know that can be a little issue, some issues going on with the community transport organisations in relation to funding going forward, but we're satisfied that the company is in a position to be solvent for the next 12 months. So on that basis, we've issued an unqualified audit opinion. I think we'll keep it nice and simple. I don't think there's anything else to add, but actually just one other thing is thank you to Nelson in his last year as treasurer. I do hope your replacement is as good and as communicative as you have been the last 3 years. It's been a pleasure working with you, Nelson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And thank you for your support during the year. It's been really very valuable. So that's the auditor's report, and I would like to ask for someone to move that all this, the chair's report, the CEO's report, the treasurer's report, and the auditor's report be accepted. Rob Macy. Sorry.
Virginia Peeler.
And Virginia Peeler. Thank you. So now, so I'd also like to, we need to appoint our auditor for 2020-2021. Can I ask for a member to move that John Marr be our, it's actually Marr Australia, I think, be continue as our auditors for this next financial year? Someone like to move that way? Nelson? Yeah. Okay. And I can't, Rob. Sorry. Oh, Lisa, was it? Sorry. I can't see you, Lisa. Sorry. Okay.
Thanks, Lisa.
Okay. So now I need to hand over for the actual election to Luke Burnett from City of Sydney Council, who's acting as returning officer. Thank you again, Luke, for stepping in as returning officer. I'm going to hand over to you now.
Just unmute myself.
Yes,
yeah.
We can't hear you.
Oh, can everyone hear me now? Is everyone able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity to be part of today's AGM. I'd also like to acknowledge the great work of Access Sydney throughout 1920. Okay, so according to the Access Sydney Community Transport Constitution, directors must retire once every 3 years. We have no directors that are due to retire this year. Directors who have filled a casual vacancy must retire at the AGM. This applies to Rob Macy. Today we have 3 nominations. The first, so I have a nomination for Rob Macy. Does anyone like to, well, I don't know who it was nominated by. Does it need to be nominated by someone?
I'll nominate Celeste.
Celeste,
And I'll
and
second if.
okay, great, thank you. Our second nomination is Alice Anderson. Would anyone like to nominate Alice?
Chris Beckman.
And anyone there to second it?
Celestial.
Celestial, thank you. And our last nomination is Arthur Staboski. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Do we have anyone there to nominate Arthur? Thank you. And second? Thank you. Okay, that's great. So these are the directors for Access Sydney Community Transport Board for 2020-21. Congratulations. And thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you. And welcome to the new board and particularly the new board members. Access Sydney has a full complement of directors now, which is really fantastic. So I believe there are no governance questions. So I would like to close the meeting at 2:30, but I invite you all to stay on, and seeing we couldn't provide afternoon tea and entertainment today, we're going to play for you our special Access Sydney COVID Safe YouTube video. As if you haven't seen enough COVID Safe on your screens, this is a special one, isn't it? So I hand over to our, all done internally, developed, published, filmed internally by our very clever staff. So I'm going to hand over to our technical wizards now. Thank you all for coming.
Today, I'm going to show you what we're doing so you can travel safely with us. Staying safe through this time, and we all look forward to seeing you real soon.
Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for attending the annual general meeting. Let's hope that the next 12 months will be exciting in a different way for Access Sydney Community Transport. Thank you. Good afternoon.